What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another daily news video. I was not planning to do because I did put out a video today on Di Maria, but I was not expecting any real transfer news, basically. And actually, the news that came out wasn't real transfer news, maybe, but it was funny. It was funny because of how it got reported throughout the day, to a point where it was we that were missing out on Lukaku. Like it got to that point basically. That was a conclusion of the media at the end of the day. So we're gonna talk about Lukaku most of the time, because other than that, not really much happened today again, and I think that's very extremely telling for the remainder. I don't know, 5-6 days of the transfer window. Before we get in that, subscribe to the channel, and also in the comments let us know what type of content you want to see on the channel this season, what kind of content you don't like, and don't say negatively, like type of shows, because yeah, there's no mid-week games, so we're trying to mix it up. The After Dark Live with Justin and Julian, that's back. Podcasts are back, but let me know in the comments what type of content you guys want or don't want, so we can work around that. But yeah, let's get into today's news. So let's go back to actually midnight today, when Di Marzio first dropped that hint that, you know what, Chelsea are open potentially to letting Lukaku go on a loan. And people were shocked. I wasn't shocked because he's saying no to anything. He's saying no to the Saudi offers. Now, the Saudi League can buy players until the 5th of September, something like that. But at this point, if he keeps saying no, Chelsea needs to find a solution. And the solution is letting him go on loan, paying his wages, and giving Chelsea like 5 or 7 million, something like that. And he can leave on loan, basically. And a lot of fans were scared, saying, oh, we're going to get Lukaku on loan. I wasn't on, but I immediately thought by myself, like, that's just not going to happen, because we cannot pay his wage and Vlahovic's wage and only play once a week. Like, that's complete pointless. So that's not going to happen. So I was very calm. But then you wake up, and the story is that, and it was funny, I like, when I read it, I needed to read it twice, 3 times actually, because I couldn't believe what the report was saying. The reports were saying, oh, now he doesn't want to join Juve. Like, he said, no, I don't want to join you guys. I want Roma. I'm like, you have no choice. It's not what you want at this point. It's who you, like, who wants you. That's what the issue is here. And we might have wanted you, but Vlahovic didn't want to leave. So at that point, it was stuck. At that point, you should have, realize that, you know what, I need to find a backup option, because this is not going to happen. This is not going to happen. I did a podcast with Julian, and people who watch it probably remember. I said, no, before a podcast, and Julian brought it up, saying that this story will pop up again. And at the start of the week, it was popping up again. But I also said, it's not going to happen, because Vlahovic is not going to leave now. Like, it makes no sense for Vlahovic. Why would he do that? Even if he's been pushed out, why would he do that? And I personally don't have the feeling the club was putting pressure on Vlahovic to accept Chelsea or whatever, to be open to it. Was not having that feeling. The worst part of all this is, and you can say Allegri likes Lukaku, and it could work on the field. I never really questioned that. I never did. I never said, oh, if you bring in Lukaku, it's a complete flop. I never did that. I questioned the plan. Yes, financially, but what? You're not making any money off him. He's getting to a point where, like, in 2 to 3 years, he's done. Like, he's completely done. Like, he's kind of falling off already. So that was my thought process about that deal. And then I sat back and I was like, the last 3 years they've been banter. And when I say, like, not in a way of finishing 7 all those years, 2 times in a row, that was real banter. But this type of banter is because we come from 9 titles in a row to a complete drop-off. Off the field, on the field, we got bullied by people off the field, by rivals on the field. You got bullied by teams like Lyon, Villarreal, Porto in the Champions League. It can happen once. You can have one off season. But if you go back to back to back to being absolutely bullied by Lyon, Porto, Villarreal, Sevilla, that's banter for a club as you like Juve. That we need to keep it real. And I was like, the Lukaku link and the saga was probably the worst out of all the things I just listed. Finishing forward, losing to Lyon, losing to Villarreal, losing to Sevilla, that was probably the worst part, being linked to Lukaku. When you invested so much money in a player like Vlahovic, who wasn't worth that money. I'll say that. I'll keep saying that. Like I said, De Ligt is not worth that money we bought him for. Nor is Locatelli worth the money we paid for. But that's today's market, and you just need to kind of live with it. I'll call it out. We can moan about it. That's fair. But at the end of the day, that's the reality. I was like, this is weird. Financially, I get it. But like long term, it makes no sense because you're bringing in players who are mercenaries. And I get that in the modern football. But he tops the list. He absolutely tops the list. It's unbelievable the stuff he does. And you're pushing out players who actually want to be here. Are they good enough? Some might disagree. Fine, I get it. But the replacement, is he good enough? Does he want to be here? Is he really committed? With Vlahovic, there's no off-the-field bullshit. With Lukaku, it's ongoing every single week, basically. And with all the distractions at the club already, that's not what we needed. We absolutely didn't need that, So the story, at the end of the day, 2 hours before I recorded this video, was Giuntoli failed. He rejected Juve. Well, that's bullshit. Maybe not the Giuntoli failed part. I think it's hard to say Giuntoli failed because he comes in a situation that's very tough to manage financially, and he's just looking for the best solutions financially for the club and keep the club competitive. And I've never questioned that Lukaku wouldn't have kept us competitive for the next 2 years. I never questioned that part. But I don't know if he failed because the reports are not saying they're pushing Vlahovic out of the door. They're putting extremely an amount of pressure on him. That story never really came out. It wasn't that. It was always, personally, I always got the vibe of, yes, they might agree with Chelsea, but then they will go to Vlahovic and ask nicely, please, can you leave? Can you find a solution with Chelsea? And I said at that point, Vlahovic will probably be like, okay, I get for what reason this you guys are doing it. But I was saying that back in July, at the end of July, not now, 5 days before the window ends, because that's insane for all parties involved, basically. But yeah, that's a story. I think it's good news. I'm extremely happy. I was really scared about it. And if you watch the channel, I said it, end of June, I was like, this is going to happen. This is absolutely going to happen. And that feeling I got until the first week of July. And then I was like, yeah, it's not going to happen anymore. It's August, excuse me. It's too late now. It will come back up to the surface, the story, and it did. But at the end of the day, it's not going to happen. And not that I want to jinx it, but Vlahovic wants to be here. And I think it's very tough to push him out of the door at this point. But that's the big story. Other than that, we loaned out Caio Jorge, close to Frosinone, excuse me. Sule, apparently close to Frosinone. Miretti, Nicolucci, no news on that. No real news that they're gonna leave. And other than that, it's been extremely quiet. There are not gonna be any signings. The Diarra thing died completely. Berardi home. Unless something out of nowhere pops up. And out of nowhere, I mean us making an offer. Because that's actually what has not happened all summer. So other than that, that was a news story. It's over. You might say finally, and I will back that. I will echo that. But yeah, again, let me know in the comments what type of content you want to see or do not want to see. Give us ideas. We have some ideas, but you guys make the channel, so we want to listen. And we will willing to work together to find a solution to make it better, like call-in shows, because a lot of people want to have their say, do not want to come on camera. I get that. So we're working on a call-in show because people have asked about it. It's a bit more technical, so we need some time, but that's something coming. And other than that, let me know and join me for the Bologna preview in a couple of hours. Thanks for watching and see you guys. Ciao.